Welcome to my channel, Sacred Intuition, and welcome to, well, I don't know how I'm going to call this, but at least once a week I'm going to highlight some kind of wound or attachment that we need to heal, okay? And today we have the need to address fear of failure. So, what is fear of failure? Because I want to empower you to really heal yourself, to become the best version of yourself. This might not actually apply to you, but it could apply to someone that is like in your environment, and maybe you can help them then. So, the fear of failure will show up as perfectionism, paralysis by analysis, or an overwhelming anxiety about making mistakes or not meeting expectations. It may manifest as avoiding new opportunities, procrastination, or a constant sense of inadequacy, often rooted in a deep fear of judgment, rejection, or the belief that failure defines your worth. Now, when it comes to fear of failure, it is not really about failing, okay? It is actually more about what failure means to the individual. So it is the belief that if you fall short, you're inadequate, okay? That if you try and don't succeed, you will be judged, ridiculed, or even worse, you're going to be left behind. This wound convinces you that mistakes define you, that imperfection is unacceptable, and that it is safer to stay where you are than to risk failing. It keeps you frozen in hesitation, waiting for the right time, the perfect conditions, or the guarantee that you won't fall. But failure is not the end, it is the doorway to mastery, resilience, and growth. The only true failure is refusing to begin. Okay? This is why they also always say every journey begins with the first step, but you have to be courageous enough to take that first step. You have to have the courage to act on an idea. You have to have the courage to go and dream big. Okay? So, what else? This fear of failure is like a deeply ingrained fear of making mistakes and falling short or not meeting expectations, which then again would make someone feel inadequate. And how does this wound manifest? Well, it can manifest as procrastination, as perfectionism, or an avoidance of risks that might lead to disappointment. Okay? It can lead to cycles of self-doubt, anxiety, and hesitation within you. And so this can then be shown or can be experienced by someone struggling to start projects or fearing that they won't be good enough, while others might overwork themselves to exhaustion and attempt to prevent failure. So this wound in particular can create feelings of shame, embarrassment, or regret over past mistakes, and which then again makes it difficult to move forward. So it keeps you in a cycle of entrapment. It keeps you stuck. It's like, technically, if a wound would be a tarot card, this would be the Eight of Swords, literally. Because technically, you would be free to free yourself from the Eight of Swords, yet you are putting the blindfolds on. I'm saying you, it doesn't have to apply to you, but we're just highlighting this particular wound, this particular fear, in order to maybe realize where we might have this wound, because all the wounds that we could have, some of them we don't, and some of them we might have just a tiny little bit. And then there are wounds where you're like, oh wow, I'm so aware of it because it's a massive issue, right? Anyway, and there is nothing to be ashamed about, like to be ashamed for, sorry. It is more about realizing where you might have to create a change within yourself and where you can help yourself, like how to empower yourself. Okay. So physically, this can, by the way, manifest as muscle tension, digestive distress, or restlessness from an underlying fear of being judged or falling behind. And over time, this fear of failure can actually lead to missed opportunities, stifled potential, and an inability to experience the richness of life due to excessive self-criticism. So basically, like I said, you're keeping yourself stuck of some kind of perceived threat that might not actually be real. Maybe something worth to think about. Anyway, take care and bye-bye.